You are listening to Waywut? This is a weekly rabbit hole podcast that goes into a variety of topics ranging from the supernatural to sports to science or anything else that we find interesting. We post episodes every Tuesday. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Please follow us on any of those. If you prefer video, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to talk to us or keep up with any random information we decide to talk about, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, under @Waywut Podcast. That does it for all the self-promotion stuff. Thank you for listening, and here we go.
Why, hello there. I'm Jason. Today I'll be driving the Waywut bus. Today's stop will bring us to another destination that made us say, "Wait, what?"
Well, maybe you. I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah. Well, joining me shotgun on this journey is my best friend for close to 40 years, and a guy who once memorized an entire box of Trivial Pursuit cars, Darrell Holiday.
Okay, yeah, I did that. I didn't like.
You did? You had a great reason.
I read them all. And I
Maybe
just
not.
memorized a lot of them. I didn't. I will not say that I memorized all of them. I just memorized a lot of them.
Well, it was very impressive, and you did it for a good cause.
Made Miss Beaver have to buy a whole new box of Trivial Pursuit cards. Who narked me out on that? Somebody narked me out. When
I don't know. Probably because you were winning.
Well, we were winning even without that. I mean,
Well, we caused a lot of problems in that class
who was it
anyway.
that was on our team that it like made her like where it just pissed everybody off and they like because she made our team and it was me and you. Was it my cousin Mark? Was he on that team too? No, God, I don't know. But we dominated every game.
Well, when she doesn't change things up for years and years,
yeah, I was telling
people are going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I was telling Violet how you had everybody set up to. I'm sure if Miss Beaver found out, she's not going to listen. I'm not Facebook friends with her, but if I'm sure she would not come after you if she found out you were the reason everybody in our our senior year?
It was our senior year. Yeah, because I took the government class my junior year, or economics, one of the two, my junior year. So Scott Kohler already had all the quizzes
narking
for the
everybody.
government. Well, like you said, it's 30 years ago. But yeah, they had all the tests from the previous year and all the quizzes. So it's their own fault for not changing them.
Yeah,
We were just smart to use them.
I mean, it was kind of funny. Is like I was telling Violet about that. I was like, yeah, I didn't feel bad about it. None of us did. The only thing the only negative feeling I have with it is the idiot, stupid person that I will not name that just sat there and wrote all the answers just straight down whenever the test got misstapled out of order.
Yeah. But she brought it upon herself. I mean, she made the quizzes so hard. She would make questions from the pictures, the captions that are written underneath the pictures instead of the actual words you would read in a textbook.
My thing on that one was, I mean, like, I made sure that I was getting an A, but I would make sure that I'd miss enough to where it was still believable.
Yes. But when you have people that go to content mastery, all of a sudden making hundreds.
For the rest of the world, that might be better known as special ed. And that's not why she was that dumb. She was just that dumb because she was that dumb. I mean, hell, she was dumb enough to be your first girlfriend. Think I forgot about that sucker?
No.
I forget nothing.
Oh, I know. That actually kind of leads me into today's topic.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with memory and having a bad memory. As we get older, things tend to become less clear, more fuzzy, hard to recount details very well.
I can agree with that.
I get up on a daily basis. I walk to the kitchen and I stand there for 30 seconds trying to remember why I came in the kitchen. And then I start doing something else, totally forget what I came into the kitchen for, go sit back down, and then go to reach for what I went to get in the kitchen and realize I never got it. It's a problem. Memories are a problem as you get older.
The issue you're talking about right there has less to do with age and more with how the brain works. Whenever you leave from one room into another, your brain kind of shifts gears, and like you literally left that memory behind in the other room, not physically, but your brain's already moved to like, okay, that's what
Yeah,
was
move
there.
faster.
That's where we were in there. Now my focus is in this room, and so I got to shed the stuff that was in that room.
Yeah,
That's kind of what that how that works. It's weird. Brains are weird. It's kind of
it
like
is
how
weird.
you look at your past self and your future self as not you.
See, you say the mind is weird, and that's kind of funny because this topic is actually a first of a series of topics
Oh dear God.
on why the mind is a prick.
Okay.
Well, I
Our
had
brains are
another.
dickheads. Okay, I
They
got
are
it.
dickheads. The mind is a dickhead. But there are people out there who have bad memories, and then there are people out there who have false memories or things that they believe to be true that aren't actually true.
Yeah.
Like people believe that we didn't land on the moon.
Okay.
You, there's theories behind it, but that's something that people believe. There's people that believe there was no Holocaust, even though there's obvious proof that there was. There's still
Yeah.
people believe that there isn't. And the difference is there's actual factual proof of these things existing. You know,
Uh-huh.
proof of the Holocaust, proof of the moon landing. It's been debunked about the flat Earth and what people used to believe. But what I'm trying to say is the memories get filled in sometimes with what people want to believe instead of what's actually factual.
Okay. All right. I'm getting what you're putting down.
So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to change gears. I'm going to jump to the end, but it's not what you think. Just keep this question in mind as I'm I'm talking
You
to
don't
you.
know what I'm thinking. Don't you dare tell me what I'm thinking.
All right. Well, do you remember the movie with Sinbad in it a long time ago
I already
called
I know what you're.
Shazam?
No, it didn't exist.
It,
I'd never
well,
believed it exists. Every time I heard that, I'm not one of those people that believe in that one. I know where you're going with this. If you wanted to get to me, you do the Berenstein bear one.
well, just 1 second.
I don't. There was no Shazam Sinbad movie.
Well, that's what leads me to this topic. What about the movie or the man Nelson Mandela? Did you know anything about him?
Yes, I did.
The only thing I knew about him was, well, at least I thought I knew, was he was a South African president, died sometime in prison in the 1980s. At least what I thought. All right.
You were one of
Uh,
those people that thought he died.
yeah, that's what I thought. But I'm
Oh
not the
wow.
only one who thought about this. Do you know what it is called in which a large mass of people believe that event occurred when it did not?
Do you really want me to answer this question? Because I
No, I
do.
don't. It's a rhetorical question. It is called the Mandela Effect. It was coined in 2009 by Fiona Broome. What happened was she was at a conference talking with other people, and she remembered the tragedy of Nelson Mandela and dying in prison in the 1980s. But the problem was Nelson Mandela did not die in the 1980s. He
No, he
actually died in 2013. But when she started talking with other people about her memories, other people were believing the same thing she was believing or remembering what she was remembering. They even remembered some of the remember seeing the news coverage of his death and the speech by his window. It's just she was shocked that such a large amount of people could remember something that didn't actually occur. So she coined the term the Mandela effect. But it's not the only time that this has happened in in history, there has been other notable events, such as the Nelson Mandela.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to hear some of the notable examples, or do you want to
Sure.
ruin my entire show?
I can't help it if I know a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, you're a big Star Wars fan, right?
I am.
And how many times have you gone up to an oscillating fan and uttered the words, Luke, I am your father? All the time. Don't say you didn't. I know what
Okay.
you're about to say, but don't say it.
Am I not allowed to talk in this episode?
No, no, you're not supposed to know these.
I'm.
Just pretend like you don't know them
I
and then
can't do
be
that.
surprised
It would
for
be
the.
dishonest to our listeners.
Well, let the listeners be surprised.
No, I'm loving this because now we get this whole new dynamic. This will be like a fun one for everybody. So
Yeah. Well, he
watch
actually,
Darrell ruin the magic.
yeah, the
The
magic.
rabbit was in his sleeve.
They actually seen a lot of those videos now where people are showing how they do their magic tricks,
Yeah, because people like to ruin shit for everybody.
and they do. Well, he doesn't actually say, Luke, I am your father. He says, No, I am your father. But
That's
yet
right.
everybody believes that he says, Luke, I am your father.
So I am going to. This is one thing on the Mandela effect I never quite agreed with, and on this specific one, because I think when most people would do this, because like whenever I was a kid, me and my cousin would beat the ever loving shit out of each other with Hot Wheels racetracks
Oh, yeah.
as lightsabers.
That's a good spank toy.
Oh yeah, that too. No, it wasn't no fun. But whenever people are impersonating, if you just throw, no, I am your father.
They have no idea
Like
what you're talking
people
about.
exactly. But if you're wanting to like get somebody like you who didn't see Star Wars until what 3 years ago,
Yesterday.
now shut up. You watched Star Wars before that, but not much longer before that.
No, not when
You
it
would
was.
understand it more. You're more likely to get the reference if somebody says, "Luke, I am your father." Or
I would
that,
agree.
and I think it's one of those things that it's also whenever other shows make reference to it, they said, "Luke, I am your father." I think it's more people emulating that.
They know what they're talking about.
I don't because like I know whenever I was like 6 years old, I was not worried about making sure that I got the quote right. You know,
Yeah.
is more about doing that specific performance. So this one in particular, I'm not a big fan of it getting lumped in with the Mandela effect. The other ones that I'm sure that you'll be discussing soon uh,
Yes.
are ones that definitely I don't know where I lean whenever it comes to the theories on this. To be honest,
It's that's a common one, like you said, but I think it's more of the I have to say it this way so people know I'm talking about Star Wars
yeah.
instead of what is this guy talking in a creepy voice for?
He's not my dad. You're not my dad. My mom didn't do anything with you.
Well, another misquote that's been heard, that's been said over years, is "Mirror, mirror on the wall." She doesn't actually say "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" She says "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the
That
fairest of them all?"
this is another one I find contentious because whenever that's people trying to do between the Disney
Yeah.
versus the real. So when they're not real, but the actual written fairy tales, the written fairy tales, some of them said "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all." I can go get a big green book from the 1950s that has that in there.
Well,
Uh,
it mentions too that a live action Snow White film with Julia Roberts and Lily Collins was talking about saying "mirror, mirror" instead of "magic mirror."
yeah.
Once again, misquoted, but people start to believe that's what they actually said instead of.
So I see where you're going with all this. You're trying to make you're okay. You're gonna go with the less supernatural explanation to all this.
Well, we're gonna get to some of these.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier Berenstein Bears. I remember
Ugh.
growing up and reading that book, and, and to this day, it is not spelled the way that they say that it's spelled. Because I truly remember it's being spelled Berenstein.
I
But
am
no,
right there with you on that one.
yes, but they claim it is spelled Berenstain. Sounds the same, but spelled this way.
Well, here's my other thing on this is if you go back and I don't know if you remember whenever there was a Berenstein Bears Saturday morning
Cartoon.
cartoon. They
Yeah.
never said, "Oh, it's the Berenstain Bears." No, they said Berenstein.
Yes.
I
I don't even looking at it spelled with the stain or with an A on it instead of the E. It don't even look right. It don't even
and
look right.
this is why I may disagree with you on your explanation of all this. This
Oh,
one in particular, because I never had a belief in this. I just knew how it was spelled.
it's the way it's said too, because as you said, you say it as Berenstein,
And so did
but it's spelled
Reading
Berenstain. Yeah.
Rainbow and the cartoon. And I mean, yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to stuff that I can interject my opinion later on this.
There's another one that's common to that one about the spelling
Okay,
between about the hot dog Oscar Mayer. How do you remember it being spelled? Do you remember it being Meyer or Mayer?
Meyer.
It's Mayer.
Um, I am willing to accept the possibility that I never looked that close to weenies to know how that's spelled. I mean, I've never been one to really stare at a wiener, so I don't know. I could be wrong. I was never like, hey, I've been staring at this wiener like 15 minutes. When did they change how they spelled Myers? So I'm willing
But
to
it's
accept I'm just dumb on this and just in my head that's how you spell it. So
well, once again, it's the pronunciation of the word. They say it's spelled Mayer, but it's pronounced Mayer. Or excuse me, it's pronounced Meyer, Oscar Mayer, but it's spelled like John Mayer.
my baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name. It's MEY. Is it no? It's MAYER. I might actually,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it might actually
It was a
be
song.
MAYER. Yeah. So I just never. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. I'll accept my own ignorance on that one.
A lesser known one because I'm not a big. What's Pikachu? What was he on again?
Pokemon.
Pokemon. I wasn't a big Pokemon person, but there was reports remembering Pikachu as a Pokemon character of having a black tipped tail. Do you remember
That's the
him
way I
having?
remember that.
He does not have a black tipped tail. He
Well,
has
now I got
black.
to open up my Pokemon Go. Hold on.
He has black tipped ears and just a yellow tail.
I,
Once again, it's the mind being a prick. You remember certain things about it, and then the mind kind of fills in the rest of
it's
what
just
you believe to be true.
so you say. So you say. I'm definitely going to be disagreeing with you here later.
Yeah. What about another children's book? What about Curious George? Did you read him growing up?
Not too much. This is another one of those ones that I'm not passionate about either side because I do not have a definitive memory either way on this one.
I wasn't big on him. I remember him looking like a boy with fur all over him. Doesn't really look like a monkey very much.
Well,
So
and
him
my thing
having a
is,
tail or not,
he's
I
supposed to
wouldn't
be
remember.
he's supposed to be a chimp, so I'm just going to assume he doesn't have a tail.
Right. He does not. Is a monkey, and most monkeys are understood to have tails.
Well,
But
he's not
Curious
a monkey. He's
George,
more of a chimp.
yeah, he's tailless. He's tailless.
Well, the man with the yellow hat was a dick and cut it off. Maybe I don't know.
They cut off dogs' tails, so why can't they cut off a monkey's tail?
That's a hurtful
That's.
thing to bring up, and I don't appreciate that.
I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna move on to a little bit of logos. What about not logos, but peanut butter?
Okay.
Do you think there is a Jiffy peanut butter?
No, it's just Jif.
Okay, you're right. There is just only Jif, but lots of people remember. Of course, there's a Jiffy Lube, Jiffy Pop popcorn. There's a Skippy peanut butter, but
Hmm.
the peanut butter that's Jif is actually just Jif, not Jiffy. Even though I've called it Jiffy peanut butter hundreds of times.
Well, and then you're obviously just stupid. So,
It's
did,
just
did
what my brain remembers, and then it
do
fills
you
in the
call
rest.
those little motion picture files on the computers? Do you call them Giphy files? Because they're just GIFs.
The gifs,
They're GIFs.
gifs,
Yes, because the G stands for graphic, so it's GIF.
gif.
Yeah.
What about everybody's favorite brand of underwear? Well, at one time maybe. Fruit of the Loom.
Okay.
Do you picture their icon? Do you think there's a cornucopia behind it, or do you think
I'm one
there's
of those
not a
people that thought
cornucopia?
there was a cornucopia in it, but
Yeah, it makes sense. Big basket of fruit. Obviously, there has to be carry it somewhere. You would think there'd be a cornucopia behind it.
you're making a very big assumption. There's nothing logical about it. I could sit there and see fruit with or without it, but in my head, whenever I remember the commercials, whenever I was a kid, of the guys dressed up like fruit.
Dancing around the giant apple. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the giant apple was one of them, but yeah, they would all sit around and talk. I remember there being being a cornucopia, but apparently there is not one.
No, it just when you see it, it's just one of those things where your mind has seen a basket of fruit or a bunch of fruit together for a long time, and normally what you see with it is a cornucopia. So you just
You are
fill in the
making
blanks.
you are making an assumption because I could
Well,
see
you're the difference. You're the difference. Most of these
I
people remember it the other way.
no, I was ooh, cannot wait till we get to when we talk about this. Get me all fired up.
All right. What about did you watch Mr. Rogers growing up? A little
Did
bit. You his favorite quote or his quote he said every time, "A beautiful day in the neighborhood."
let's see. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood is what I remember. But what?
Right. But he actually says it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood to be because he's in his neighborhood, with the mailman and
Hmm.
all the stuff he's got going on. So he's talking about his reality at that moment, not what it's changed to.
Uh, I can go either
Even
way on
though
that one. People mess up
either way,
song lyrics.
oh yeah, you don't. I don't know how many times I've heard the actual lyrics to a song. I'm like, oh damn, I've been saying that wrong for 10 years.
I thought he said wrapped up like a douche. Anyway,
He actually no, I did look that one up. It's
it's
a
revved up
deuce.
like a deuce.
Yeah, whatever, some kind of car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another famous one that was made famous by Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura Part Two, when he grabs the little ball-headed guy
Yeah.
and shakes him around. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
You
It
must
was
be the Monopoly guy.
right, and he thought he looked like the Monopoly guy because of what? The little
Uh,
monocle he had on his eye.
no, I think he just thought he looked like him just because he was bald and he had a mustache and was wearing a black suit. The monocle was just there.
Right,
I'm
but
not one of those people that believe that the Monopoly guy ever had a monocle. That's just
well,
stupid. Do
well,
you
lots of
believe that he had
people
a
did.
monocle?
I remembered him having a monocle. Yeah,
See,
because when you
I think you're just a sucker for peer pressure.
no, it just when you see the movie or see you just automatically think of him having a monocle, but it's the confusing of him and the Mr. Peanut guy with the top
Hmm.
hat and the monocle. Very
Mm,
similar, but very similar. You just mind filling in the blanks.
hmm.
And another
Hmm.
one that an actor made famous is the famous speech by Sally Fields when she won an Oscar. Another one that
You
Jim,
like me. You really like me. Now, the only
yes,
reason I even know like what I think that sounds like is because of Jim Carrey in The
in the
Mask.
mask, yeah. But what she actually says is, except what she, I mean, excuse me, I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me.
Well, I didn't. I never saw the speech, so I can't pretend like I have any idea what it
I didn't
says.
know where it came from. I
Hmm.
remember what, like you said, in the mask, what Jim Carrey did, and I'm not sure what he was talking about, but it's another one of those things where it's not what they actually. said,
Yeah, people are
just
misquoted.
what they remembered. Yeah, and it's became what some people believe to be true.
I look. I mean, it's kind of like whenever there. I can't count how many times whenever I was younger, and I tell certain ladies in my life that you're acting like a bitch, and for some reason they would misquote me and say that I called them a bitch. People get
Big difference.
misquoted. I know it does make a difference, but it's just being misquoted happens.
Yeah. Well, it leads me to what I was asked you earlier that you totally ruined, but about the Shazam movie with Sinbad. That I have vivid memories of him dressed up in a red robe, maybe purple, but him dressed up as a genie in this movie called Shazam. But the shit did not happen. There
It
was no
does
movie
no.
with him in it. There was a movie with Shaquille O'Neal in it called Kazam or something like that,
Yeah, it was
but
Kazam.
nothing to the effect of Sinbad being in a movie. But yet, lots of people remember Sinbad being in this so-called movie.
Well, I don't because I worked in a video store in the mid '90s and I knew like all the movies, and that was not one of them.
What are I have several explanations for why people think this happens. One of them is very far-fetched, talking about we all live in a alternate reality.
I wouldn't call that
Absolutely.
one far fetched because honestly, I am more likely to believe that one than shared delusions.
Yeah, not uh you mean like something like priming? What
When
I
I
heard,
think, I mean, like I said, I'm more likely to sit there and think alternate realities and multiverse and all this other stuff where things just get a little bit thin and people pop in and out to other ones and things get all mishmashed and shuffled like a bunch of cards. And I'm maybe from the one where Berenstein bears and Nelson Mandela didn't die in the 1980s, and the Monopoly guy never had a monocle, while you came from dead Nelson Mandela. Berenstein bears same as me, but your Monopoly guy had a monocle. I I just think that maybe things are a little bit thinner all around than what people might expect. It's maybe that's how you end up with ghost sightings and stuff like that. Is sometimes things get a little bit thin.
that kind of leads me to one of the things called confabulation. Confabulation involves your brain filling in gaps that are missing in your memories to make more sense of them. It tends to increase with age. As we get older, we start filling in the gaps of the things we don't remember as well. Like you said, getting thin. So we fill them up with things we think we remember or what everybody else is
That
saying
feels
about it.
that feels like we're being gaslit at that point. Like where
Kind of
somebody's all
telling
like,
us what to believe.
yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, your brain is just filling in gaps because you are the problem. You're what's wrong. Fuck you. I'm not what's wrong. It's the world that's wrong, bitch.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes with into another thing is called the misleading post-event information, where
Okay.
people are given a bunch of your memories are changed after the event because you're be giving a bunch of other information. So your memory of that event changed by what the other information that comes out about it.
Okay. So in other words,
The
whenever
truth gets changed
you see
somewhere.
some, you see you might see like a person get shot from a distance, and you're like, oh no, I didn't see who did it, and then you find out so and so did it. It's like, yes, I saw, and it was totally so and so that did it.
Yeah, yeah, something similar to that. And then
Again,
just and it kind of goes on with them and just false memories. You don't remember it correctly, and then after a while, everybody just remembers what you thought it was.
see, that just still feels like somebody's gaslighting us. Like, that's the scientific community being all like, no, there aren't alternate dimensions. Your brain's the problem. Your brain is the problem.
Yeah, that's what's so scary about today's age when they try to erase history and everything that's happening is the bad stuff did happen, yes, but trying to just erase it and to pretend like it didn't happen Doesn't change it.
Well, it's one of those things where they say like history is written by the people who want the winners.
Yeah.
Uh, well, we were the winners, but we've hit a point where there's a lot of self hate, where uh, they it's just we're the bad. Of course, yeah, we weren't always the good guys or whatever. I get that, but whenever it's just like whenever we weren't the good guys in a lot of things, it's like now we were never the good guys. It's
Yeah.
just it's it's not ideal.
No.
So
Eh,
did you happen to see, whenever you're looking at this, did you happen to see the one about the Ford logo?
no.
All right, so imagine the Ford logo in your head.
Yeah, just a circle with the Ford written in the middle,
Okay.
right?
All right, so and it's whenever you see it on the lower part of the F, that the little stick part.
Yeah.
Do you remember there being a curly Q at the end of it?
No.
There is.
That's weird. I have two Fords sitting in my driveway.
I know. It's funny because, like, at first I was a bit resistant to that one, but I was like, you know what? I never really stared that closely at a Ford logo, so I'm willing to accept that I just remember that one wrong because I never paid that much attention to it. And see, that's why. So when it comes to like some of the stuff you're saying, where your mind might fill in gaps and stuff like that, there's some of those that I'm willing to accept that on, where I will sit there and say, yes, I never looked that closely. Oscar Mayer, like I said, I never stared at that close. I don't know. I don't remember. But there are things that I remember well and vividly, like Berenstein Bears. Uh, yeah, no. There, I am willing. I mean, I am inclined to believe that it is something a little more than just our brains playing tricks on us, because it's just
Us not paying attention at the onset of it,
no,
and
no, no. Berenstein Bears, come on. People are passionate on this one because, like I said, it isn't just. I mean, there are plenty of things in this world that I mispronounce, and if I hear other people pronounce it, sometimes I'll end up correcting mine to where I start saying it the way they did it. Fine. Or I'll sit there and acknowledge that hey, people said this thing different. The Berenstein Bears. It was what they said in the cartoon. I remember them talking about reading Rainbow or whatever. And then the teachers, everybody in the world, I remember reading it myself. It was always EIN.
yeah,
Something happened somewhere where I don't know if I went 88 miles per hour in a DeLorean, or like I zigged when I should have zagged one day, but I accidentally went from dimension A to dimension B to where the Berensteins became the Berenstains. I am more likely to believe that than the majority of people I know completely getting a word that wrong.
it's a good one. I mean, the whole effect itself, the Nelson Mandela effect, the coin term, it could actually probably be changed to be Berenstein effect.
I
It's
think
very
that one,
similar.
that's the one that I think a lot of people get a little bit more passionate about. It just sounds more sophisticated whenever it's named after like a Nelson Mandela, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know much about him anyway, but lots of people know more probably about the book or the cartoon, the Berenstain Bears, than Nelson Mandela.
Yeah. Uh, no, I've known about this thing for God, I don't know, about 10, 15 years. Where I've sat
Yeah,
there and watched all sorts of stuff about it and looked at all the different things that people say that they remember. Because there's some of them I'm like, y'all are just stupid. Monopoly guy never had a monocle. You guys are fucking ridiculous. Uh, but again, I think it's very odd for group delusions whenever people are not associated with each other. If we were all locked in the same little culty house and we were told by like, or and we all had our little shared delusion that man, I don't know, just the Monopoly
Any of
guy
them.
had a
Yeah.
monocle or whatever, and that's what, was beat into our heads or whatever. And then we go out in the real world and it's like, oh wait, it doesn't, that's one thing. But whenever it is across everybody, mixed populations, even differences in families, where I remember this, I don't remember that. You'd think you'd share the delusions with the people that are closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
You'd share false memories with people that you share most memories with. I mean, me and you, we've known each other forever. We've been super duper 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 tight since we were 5. And you and I diverge on a lot of these things.
Yeah. Once again, that's the why the mind is a prick.
Well, I'm not blaming the mind. I'm just saying there's unknown parts of physics that we don't understand.
It just don't make any sense. That's
Yeah.
why there's been a coined term about it.
If I ever
It's a
really
phenomenon.
feel about doing an extra nerdy episode, I'll do one on imaginary numbers.
Imaginary numbers.
Yeah, don't you remember that back in high school when we were doing pre-cal and stuff like that? Whenever it's this like the square root of -1 and it would equal I.
Oh, like undetermined or something?
Yeah,
Or,
but I mean, it's one of those things where it actually, it's one like it's kind of hard to explain, but they know that the equation works whenever you hit this number that we cannot comprehend or understand, but it makes the equation work, which you're like, okay, that's an equation, whatever. A lot of electronics and systems are based on formulas that result in imaginary numbers. So we don't understand how it works, but it does. And which is like, it hurts my brain. It's one of those ones that hurts my brain. It's kind of like anytime I learn about things involving physics. Physics and math hurt my brain.
yeah, there's too much going on.
Mm-hmm. So I doubt I'll ever do an episode on imaginary numbers, because even just talking about just that little minute, I'm surprised I don't have a fucking nosebleed.
Eyes just glaze over.
It hurts. I'm just done with math.
Well, and with that, we have reached the end of this trip.
I can't wait till the next time you tell me about something I already know.
I don't.
All right. Well, hold on. We haven't really done this, and I meant to do this in the last episode, and I did not. But please, somebody comment. Tell us on what you think. Did the Monopoly guy have a monocle? Did he not? Am I right about the Berenstein Bears? Do you think it's dimensional rifts, or do you think that Jason's right and our brains are all broken? Go ahead and tell us your opinion. I'd love to read it. And if you have any comment suggestions, not comment suggestions, topic suggestions, go ahead and put them in there. One of us might end up needing help coming up with something.
Yep. I only got 6 pages worth of topics, so you never know.
You have that many?
No.
I
write really small.
I was gonna say
I got one page, but I got like 1 million on one page.
I've got a smidge over a year's worth of topics, and so that means that any comments from anybody that with suggestions, they better be good.
Well, next week, Darrell will take over again. We're going to switch drivers, and until then, question everything. We'll see you later.
Well, you say that, but then whenever you're all like, no, Darrell, you're right. They're right. It's our brains. It's wrong.
I'm questioning why I remember it this way. Because I said, wait, what?
All right. Bye.
Wait a minute. Later.
Thank you for listening to Waywut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday and would love for you to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora. If you are watching us on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, and do all the other things that YouTube likes for you to do. You can stalk us on Facebook and X/Twitter with the handle Waywut Podcast. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time when we'll get you to say, Waywut.